Hello, I'm Clark Crawford, and welcome back to the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. Now, I know I've been away for a while. I've had a few things to take care of and whatnot, but I'm back on YouTube, back on my NFL talk. So let's jump right into the Week 10 NFL action. And we are going to start with the division records and looking at how the divisions are shaping out so far. We are headed into week 10 of the NFL season. That'll take us into the NFC East to begin with. The Commanders 7-2, Eagles 6-2, the Dallas Cowboys are 3-5, and of course the Giants are 2-7. Now to break this down, the biggest surprise in this division is definitely the Washington Commanders. I expected Jayden Daniels to be a nice addition to their team, obviously number 2 overall pick, but I did not expect them to be in first place. I thought the Eagles would probably take home this division. Though they have been one of the biggest surprises in the NFL, Commanders are in first. So credit to them, credit to rookie head coach Dan Campbell over there in Washington. Of course, the Giants are in the cellar of the division, 2-7. I'm thinking Brian Daboll may not have too much more time sticking with Daniel Jones. And, well, he was kind of handcuffed as well because they gave Daniel Jones that 4-year extension before last year. So the Giants are terrible. They're going to have a top 10 pick, maybe even top 5 pick. But, heck, I'm just glad I'm not a Giants fan. They are just a hot mess, and they're a train wreck. I mean, there's no other way to put it. We're going to move on to the NFC North. Detroit Lions 7-1. In my opinion, the Lions are the best team in football. Then you got the Minnesota Vikings 6-2, who were 5-0 leading this division. They're only a game behind the Lions, though. So watch out, Lions. You got the Vikings and, of course, the Green Bay Packers at 6-3 on their bye week, right on your tail. So the Lions have no breathing room. They will play the Texans. We'll talk about the game here coming up here in a little bit. And the Chicago Bears, who are improved, they are 4-4 on their way to winning potentially 7, maybe even 8 games this year, or even 6 with Caleb Williams would be a nice step forward for the Chicago Bears. We'll see what happens there. But if you're looking at everything, judging, debating everything, this is the best division in football. There's no question about it. The Lions 7-1, 6-2, 6-3 as you third place right now. 6-3 in most divisions is probably leading the division. So the Packers 6-3, they're right there within striking distance. I wouldn't be too worried about a Packers fan unless Jordan Love goes down. Obviously, Malik Willis played well earlier this year, but let's be real. The Packers don't have Super Bowl hopes unless they have Jordan Love on the field and not Malik Willis. NFC South and NFC West divisions. The NFC South has the Falcons 6-3 with a nice lead in the division by a couple of games over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Panthers and Saints are tied at 2-7. And in case you missed it from earlier this week, the Saints fired their coach, Dennis Allen. He wasn't a good coach for the Raiders at the time when he was the Raiders head coach. Funny enough, he had Derek Carr as his quarterback. Both times he was fired from the Raiders years ago and now the New Orleans Saints. I was under the impression, I wasn't doing videos at the time, they should have never hired Dennis Allen. That was a mistake of a hire. And now a few years later, they are still at the bottom trying to make playoffs. Even getting into the playoffs has been hard for the Saints lately. They're 2-7. They need to start looking at a lot of things on their team. And heck, they even just traded Marshawn Lattimore to the Washington Commanders. I mean, the Saints are a train wreck. They're just not a good football team right now. If I'm the Saints, I would have traded Alvin Kamara at the trade deadline. That's another story for another day. We can get into that later on. Though they're just a bad football team. The Falcons, 6-3. One of the, I wouldn't say surprise, but a little bit of a surprise for me. I did not think the Falcons were going to take this division, though they could still lose it. Though at 6-3, the Falcons have really impressed a lot of people. Kirk Cousins has got weapons like Drake London, even though he has a concussion right now. We'll see what comes out of that, or maybe it's a leg injury. I forget. I apologize, Falcons fans and Drake London. But Drake London got hurt in their last game, so we'll see how he comes out of that. The Panthers and Saints at the bottom of this division, it is just a 2-team race in the NFC South. And then that'll take us to the NFC West. Arizona leading the division. I did not have that in my book 9 weeks into the season, coming up on week 10 with Thursday night football coming up here shortly in the coming days. And the Cardinals 5-4 lead, Rams 4-4, the Niners 4-4, one of the biggest disappointments in football. I know they've had a lot of injuries. Brandon Ayuk out for the year. Christian McCaffrey has not played in the first 9 weeks of the year as the 49ers are coming off their bye week. He's expected to return. That's a huge, huge weapon for the 49ers. They have remained afloat because nobody in their division has really taken over. 5-4, 4-4, 4-4, and 4-5. Even Seattle is only a game back, and they're in last place in the division. That is definitely the second best division or second most competitive division in football behind the NFC North, where you have the Packers, Lions, as I went over with. If you want to catch that, rewind the video. So we have the NFC West and NFC South. I would expect the Niners at some point are going to take over this division. They just have so much talent there. And then it seems the Falcons could be fighting and winning one of those top 4 spots in the NFC. I was thinking the Falcons had a good chance of making the playoffs. I just didn't have them as a division winner at the beginning of the season. So that's an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Can Tampa Bay, with Mike Evans out for probably 2 to 3 to 4 more weeks? They still have Cade Otton, who's really been picking up the slack. And, of course, Chris Godwin out for the year. It's really affecting Tampa Bay. And, you know, Baker Mayfield's been a little bit down as of late, but he's still playing well. Don't get me wrong. He's just definitely not the MVP frontrunner anymore that he was right around the time I recorded my last video about a month or so ago. So a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have shaken up. So I just want to give a little review on the NFC. And, of course, we're coming up here on the AFC just because, like I said, a lot of things have changed. And I think there's a lot of things to talk about. There's been a lot of trades like Davante Adams to the Jets, Amari Cooper to the Bills, Deontay Johnson to the Ravens, Mike Williams to the Steelers. I mean, there was a good amount of moves made. A few teams that probably should have made moves, or at least a bigger move, like the Texans. The Jaguars were projected to trade Christian Kirk to the Steelers, though he ended up getting hurt and he is out for the year. And, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs, don't forget about their juggernaut. They acquired DeAndre Hopkins, of all people. Of course, Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown are out for the year. Colts, the Titans are 2-6 out of the race, and the Jaguars 2-7 way out of the race in the cellar of the AFC South. The Texans are 6-3. They lead the AFC South. They should run away with the division. They're 3-0 in the division. They honestly, it would be a major disappointment for them if they did not take care of the Titans. 2 games left against them. And, of course, the Jaguars as well. You can't slip up against any of them because the Texans have one of the toughest remaining schedules here in the NFL remaining, because they still have to play the Chiefs. They still have to play the Ravens. They play the Dolphins, who have been a little disappointing. We'll talk about them here in a little bit. And, well, it's just going to be tough. They still have the Cowboys and, of course, the Lions coming up here on Sunday night. The Chiefs 8-0. They're a juggernaut. They've won like 14 games in a row dating back to last year, including the playoffs, of course. The Chargers 5-3, one of the, Jim Harbaugh coming in and really turning things around. J.K. Dobbins, I think, should be the leader for comeback player of the year. He's been excellent. The Broncos 5-4, maybe the biggest surprise, right next to the Commanders in the NFL. The Broncos 5-4, that was not on my bingo card so far in this season. They could very well collapse. You just don't know. And the Raiders are a train wreck. They're 2-7. I would not fire Antonio Pierce. Of course, Davante Adams basically forced his way out, and I think Antonio Pierce deserves at least 1, if not 2 more years. He did a great job last year, and of course this year, 2-7, but they don't have a quarterback. They lost Josh Jacobs free agency. They should have traded him in the offseason, tried to sign and trade, or traded him at last year's deadline. They did not. The Raiders have just made some bad moves as recently, bad draft picks. The Raiders are in need of a full rebuild. I would have traded Max Crosby. But heck, like I said with other teams in this video, I'm just glad I'm not a Raiders fan. So moving on, that is the Chiefs 8-0, Chargers 5-3, Broncos 5-4, the Raiders 2-7. And, of course, here's your AFC South with the Texans leading that division. We've got a couple more divisions to go over, the AFC East and the AFC North. Let's not forget about them. The Buffalo Bills 7-2. They are way out in front in the AFC East by 3.5 games over the Jets. No, excuse me. It's a full 4 games over the Jets. The Jets are 3-6. Dolphins 2-6. They're out of it. And the Patriots 2-7. They're out of it. The Dolphins have yet to win a game since Tua since Tua came back from his concussions. I mean, it's just been abysmal there. They can't even get Tyreek Hill the ball. And, of course, Jalen Waddle at that. I mean, Devon Achane is running all over people, catching passes, running routes, and, of course, running all over people, running the ball as well. But they can't get their two best receivers going. That's, if you ask me, the Dolphins' biggest problem. And, of course, their defense has not done them any favors as well, allowing a ton of points as they have, like you can see here, a negative 63-point differential. Of course, part of that is Tua being out. But nonetheless, the Dolphins are out of it. The Patriots are out of it. Though I think the way things are going, the Patriots, they're only half game behind the Dolphins for third place in the AFC East. If the Dolphins keep slipping, the Patriots might surprise some people and jump up to be in third place in the AFC East by the end of the season and finish with a better record than the Dolphins. Drake May has looked serviceable. I'm not saying he's going to be a great quarterback or anything going forward, but he's looked serviceable. He needs some better weapons. Rhamondre Stevenson, solid running back, not top 10 or anything in the NFL. Get him some better weapons, maybe a little bit better of a tight end than Hunter Henry. He can be a solid player from week to week. Not necessarily going to burn you for 100 yards every week, but Hunter Henry's a sneaky touchdown guy as he's been with New England for a couple of years, and he can do a little bit of damage, though I would still say they need an upgrade there. And, of course, they need a couple more receivers to give Drake May some more downfield threats, and really they need a true number one guy. Demario Douglas is fine, and really they don't have much more after that. So the Patriots, I feel like things are kind of looking up. They have first-year coach Gerard Mayo, but still the Patriots have a long way to go. And, of course, the AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Russell Wilson / Justin Fields experiment's working out so far. They are 6-2. The Ravens 6-3, Bengals 4-5, and the Browns 2-7. The Browns are abysmal. I mean, the whole Deshaun Watson debacle, the Texans fleeced them in that trade. There's no other way to put it. The Bengals 4-5 still have an outside shot at one of the last wildcard spots in the AFC, since now 7 teams in each conference get in the playoffs. I wouldn't count the Bengals out. They still have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. I don't know what the heck's going on with T. Higgins. I think he might just, at this point, sit out the rest of the season so he's healthy for free agency, because he wants a big contract, as the Bengals have refused to pay him other than the franchise tag. So I fully expect the Ravens to still win that division. Sorry, Steelers fans, but not sorry. But Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, it's just, to me, it's not good enough. You're not going to win that division. The Ravens have turned their season around after a extremely poor start, an unexpected start from the Ravens, and they're going to come back and win that division. I just can see it happening. I mean, just look at it. I mean, yeah, the Ravens defense hasn't been as good as it has been in the past, but when you look at it, the Ravens are a much better team. When the Ravens-Steelers play, that is going to be one of the biggest dogfights in the NFL this season. It's going to be a bloodbath. I think it's possible they could flip 1-1, but I would lean towards the Ravens going 2-0, and, of course, eventually taking over that division from the Pittsburgh Steelers. But we'll talk about that here on another day. Kick off with Thursday Night Football, which is the Ravens and the Bengals. I am going to predict the Ravens are going to win this. They're on a roll right now, and I'm not convinced the Bengals defense, which has been just atrocious at times so far this year, and they've been awful for most of the season. Heck, the Bengals even lost to the Patriots, and a lot of people, like in their Survivor leagues like I did, picked the Bengals in that game. And, well, the Bengals screwed me from week one. They've screwed a lot of people all season, especially their fans. And I'm going to take the Ravens to win. They just seem on fire. And I don't think the Bengals can stop Derrick Henry. It comes down to that. I know the Ravens defense has been a little spotty, but their offense has been on point nearly every game so far this year. And I'm going to take the Ravens, who are rolling right now. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews. The list goes on and on and on. The Ravens are at home. They're going to beat the Bengals. The Bengals are going to fall to 4-6. The Germany game, which is, I guess, payback for World War II, the Giants and the Panthers, 2 of the worst teams in the NFL, 2 of the bottom 5 teams in the NFL, if you ask me. It's going to be an ugly game. I mean, I guess I have to pick a winner here. It's really tough. I think it's kind of a coin flip. I'm going to go the Giants because the best overall player, I think, in this game is Malik Nabers, even though he's a rookie. And I'm going to go with the Giants to win because they have Malik Nabers and simply the Panthers don't. I know that just sounds a little crazy, and you think, well, There's just not much to talk about in this game. Bryce Young's been bad. Daniel Jones has been bad. But the Giants have Tyrone Tracy, their rookie running back. And, of course, they have Malik Neighbors, their star rookie. The Giants just have a little bit more than the Panthers. Even though, like I said, this is potentially a coin flip, I'll take the Giants to win in this game. Probably going to be an ugly game. Maybe the Giants win 20-14 or 20-10, but it's going to be an ugly game, a hard watch. I'll be tuned in because, there's early football on a Sunday. Heck, I'm all for it. I love the London games. I love all these other games. It gives you an extra football game to watch. So that's going to take us in. Enough about Giants and Patriots talk. Let's talk about the Patriots and Bears. Bears are at home in this one. I'll take Caleb Williams. He needs to bounce back after the Bears have had a rough couple of weeks as they lost that Hail Mary to the Commanders a couple weeks back. That was a wild game, probably the finish of the year in the NFL so far this season. I mean, definitely it has to be the finish of the year. And the Bears, the Patriots they're okay. Like I said, Drake May's been serviceable. I don't know if he's ever going to be a stud quarterback, but I think he can at least be a decent starter in this league. I'll take the Bears to win this game. Caleb Williams, the run game's starting to get going. Rome Odunze is starting to really pop off, even though DJ Moore has halfway become non-existent in the Bears offense. But if he's throwing to somebody, it's Rome Odunze. They've got that rookie connection, Williams to Odunze. I'll take the Bears. They should win this game handily. Next up on the schedule, the Bills, 7-2 against the 4-5 Colts. I'm going to take Buffalo, even though they're on the road in Indianapolis in this one. Josh Allen, the Colts defense is okay at best. It simply comes down to this for me. The Bills have Josh Allen. The Colts have a 39-year-old Joe Flacco. The Colts defense isn't great. I don't know if Amari Cooper's going to play, as he was inactive last week, though that was the Bills' big trade acquisition a couple weeks ago. The Bills still have more than enough weapons, James Cook and others. The Bills are going to take this game from the Colts. They should win by at least 10 points. I'm going to take the Bills to win big in this ball game. 6-2 Vikings, 2-7 Jaguars. This is another easy one for me. The Vikings should win this game, and that's who I'm going to take. Even though they're on the road, the Jaguars haven't shown me anything. I mean, Travis Etienne's been a bust this year. The Jaguars lost Christian Kirk. Brian Thomas is banged up. Evan Ingram's missed a lot of time this year. The Vikings are rolling. Sam Darnold threw for 3 touchdowns on the Colts last week. He's facing another bad defense this week in the Jaguars. The Vikings should win this one. I expect Justin Jefferson to have a monster game because who's going to cover him on the Jaguars? I don't know. I couldn't tell you really any players on the Jaguars defense, and that's kind of a problem because, well, the Vikings have had a top 10 offense this year. Justin Jefferson, monster game. Easy pick. Vikings win. The Broncos 5-4 against the Chiefs 8-0. I feel this could be a sneaky game because I feel the Chiefs are due for a loss at this point, though I'm not going to go crazy. The Chiefs, I'm going to have winning this game, though the Broncos are going to, I think, give them a fight, but not enough of a fight to make enough of a difference in this game. I could easily see it being like a 7-point game where the Chiefs barely cover their spread or the Broncos come in and get a late field goal and take the spread away from the Chiefs. They'll cover, but the Chiefs are going to win this game. They're at home in Arrowhead. The Broncos have shown me some promise this year, but not enough. Bo Nix in the offense, it's just, Javonte Williams has been okay. Bo Nix has been better than I ever expected him to be in his rookie year, though Sean Payton could sneak one from the Chiefs. I just don't see it happening. The Chiefs are going to go to 9-0. I still think the Chiefs are going to lose a game, maybe 2 at some point, because at least in their last game of the season, I'm not sure who they played today. In the last game of the season, I could see the Chiefs losing that game, especially that game and maybe one more, because I highly expect they'll have the 1 seed locked up by then, and they won't need to play their starters. They'll rest Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, so on and so on. But the Chiefs are going to go to 9-0. They're going to take care of the Broncos in Week 10. Games, 6-3 Falcons at the 2-7 Saints. The Saints have an interim coach right now. The Falcons are the better team. Even though the Saints, went off and they won their first 2 games of the year, they've lost 7 in a row. The Saints are in a free fall. The Falcons are the better team. They have Bijan Robinson, Kirk Cousins, more and more and more weapons. Even if Drake London doesn't play in this game, the Falcons are going to win. The Saints are they're in a free fall, like I said. their season has crashed and burned. The Saints are going to miss the playoffs. And at this rate, they might even have a top 5 pick. And heck, they just lost to the Panthers last week, who most people believe are the very worst team in football. This is an easy one. Falcons win this game, and they should win it big, even though it's a division rivalry, because the Saints can't stop a nosebleed right now. And, well, the Falcons are the much better team. 4-5 Niners at the 4-4 Niners at the 4-5 Buccaneers. Niners coming off of a bye week. Buccaneers coming off of not quite a heartbreak, but yeah, kind of a heartbreaking loss. You were right there with the Chiefs till the end. Of course, the Chiefs won in overtime on Monday Night Football. The Buccaneers, a lot of people say they probably should have gone for 2. At first, they didn't make much of it, and then I was like, well, the Chiefs stormed down the field. I'm going to have to agree. They should have gone for 2 and gone for the win against the Chiefs. You got to stick the nail, have the nail in the coffin, go for it, go for the dagger, kind of like three-pointer in basketball of, hey, go for that shot and go for the punch in the mouth. Go for it all. You still lost the game. So the Buccaneers probably should have gone for 2. I just think the Niners coming off a bye week, especially if Christian McCaffrey plays this week, I think the Niners win a big game on the road and start potentially a road to domination if they win this week. I can see the Niners getting out to a 4, 5, 6 game win streak, really carrying their season and carrying their way into the playoffs. The Niners are making the playoffs. Let's just be realistic about that. It's a matter of, are they going to steal the division, or are they going to have a major disappointment and only get in the wild card and then potentially be one of the most dangerous, if not the most dangerous wild card team in the NFL in who knows how many years, coming off of several Super Bowl appearances in recent years. It's going to take us to one of probably the games of the week, the Steelers and the Commanders, 6-2 Steelers, 7-2 Commanders. With the Commanders being at home and they've been on a roll, I mean, they're 7-2. I'm going to take the Commanders in this game. Jayden Daniels has been as good as advertised. I know the Steelers have a really good defense. I'm going to take the Commanders by a field goal, though, in this game. Jayden Daniels is just hard to pick against him right now. The Steelers could very well prove me wrong, though. I don't want to take any credit away from the Steelers, how they played this year. I just don't believe in the Steelers when it comes down to it. Russell Wilson's 35. How much does he really have left in the tank? I know he sat, the first 6 games of the year or first 5 games of the year, whatever it was. And maybe he's still got some juice left in the tank. Well, when it comes down to it, I just don't trust Russell Wilson, especially if the Steelers do end up making the playoffs, which it seems like they have a good chance to do as of right now. I'm going to take the Commanders in this game. A close game late, but the Commanders squeak it out. They've kicked so many field goals this year. I'm going to take it. They kick another field goal sometime in the fourth quarter, play good enough defense, and win this game with their new addition, Marshawn Lattimore, helping out their secondary and helping out that defense, being a leader back there. I expect he will probably be ready to go by Sunday and help the Commanders out and maybe give them a big push, as the Commanders looks like they're going to easily make the playoffs this year, when many people thought they might only win 4 or 5 games, maybe 6. That's going to take us to Titans and Chargers. This is another easy one for me. I'm going to take the Chargers, 5-3. The Titans are 2-6. Titans are not a good football team. I don't know if they're going to start Mason Rudolph or Will Levis. I don't think it matters who they start. The Chargers are going to win this game. I don't know if it's going to be easily, but with the Chargers being at home, Jim Harbaugh is setting a culture there. I know we hear that word all the time in football and in sports, but Jim Harbaugh is really a culture guy. He's really trying to build a football team over there. He inherited a solid team that just underperformed last year. The addition of J.K. Dobbins, as I said earlier in the video, probably going to be the comeback player of the year. He's had multiple major injuries in his career. Happy to see him back healthy on a football field and contributing. And, well, the Chargers are just the better team. They're going to move to 6-3 and put them in a prime position to make the playoffs, which I thought the Chargers were on the outside looking in before the season. But it looks like the Chargers, especially if they win this game on Sunday, they're probably going to make the playoffs. They'll just need a couple more wins after that. 3-6 Jets at the 5-4 Cardinals. I think this is one of the tougher games to pick this week. I'm going to go with the Jets on the road here. I think they picked up a big win. This is one of my upsets of the week. Maybe one of my only upsets. You're going to have to watch to find out. The 3-6 Jets are going to upset the Cardinals, mostly because Kyler Murray hasn't played well as of late. The Cardinals don't have a good defense either. And I think the Jets, with the big win against the Texans on Thursday Night Football, it's going to propel them. Not to say the Jets are going to make the playoffs. I'm not willing to go that far. I just think this is two okay, not great football teams as of right now. But I think the Jets carrying that win against the Texans, who are now 6-3, it's just going to propel them, and I think they might go on a little win streak, though the Jets are still way on the outside looking in to potentially make the playoffs, but they're not out of it yet. I think they pick up a big win this week. I'm not a Jets fan. I'm not a Cardinals fan. Just what I think is going to happen. The Jets, there's always a couple upsets every week, and I'm picking this as one of my upsets. It should be a close game, or at least with the spread. I don't really follow that stuff, but nonetheless, the Jets are going to win this game against the Cardinals. That is my prediction. 6-2 Eagles at the 3-5 Cowboys. I think the Eagles win this game in a blowout without Dak Prescott. CeeDee Lamb, I lean towards he's going to play. I would expect in a big division game he's going to find a way to play. He's got some kind of shoulder injury. We don't know if it's the AC joint, shoulder sprain. I haven't seen anything official. Let me know down in the comments if I missed something. I apologize if I did. No disrespect to the Cowboys or to CeeDee Lamb. But the Eagles win this game in a blowout. The Cowboys are kind of like the Saints in a free fall and some of the other teams in the league. They're going to fall to 3-6. The Eagles are just too good. They have Saquon Barkley. I think A.J. Brown's going to play in this game. Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts. The list goes on and on and on and on. The Eagles are just a much better football team right now. They're going to move to 7-2 and blow out the 3-5 Cowboys on Sunday afternoon. It's going to happen. Just watch for it. Without Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush is okay. He can be serviceable at times, but no chance he beats the Philadelphia Eagles. That would probably be my pick and my lock of the week pick. The Eagles would definitely beat the Cowboys if I had to put money on it. Then we got two more games this week. The Sunday night football game is the 7-1 Lions at the Houston Texans in Houston, Texas, 6-3 Texans. Even though I'm a Texans fan, I'm going to take the Lions in this game. They're 7-1. In my opinion, right now, the Lions are the best team in football. I know the Chiefs are 8-0 and they have a better record, but the Lions have looked much better in every game except the Tampa Bay game, the one game that they lost. Tampa Bay made them look like crap. But since then, the Lions have won, 5 or 6 in a row? I can't remember exactly which number it is. It's either 5 or 6 in a row. They're one of the best teams in football. I have them as the best team in football. It's easy to say. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams has come back from this game. Sam Laporta, even though he's not being featured, is still a weapon. I mean, Jared Goff, I would say he should be the MVP frontrunner right now. I mean, with the way he's commanding the Lions, their offense coordinator, Ben Johnson, looks like a genius out there. I still can't believe he turned down jobs to be a coordinator, be a head coach, but he's the Lions coordinator, wreaking havoc and running all up and down the league and passing all up and down the league. I just don't think the Texans, I think they hang in this game for a while. I don't think the Lions blow them out. I have the Lions winning by maybe 10-13. I don't see it as a big 20-point blowout. The Texans hang in there. Now, if the Texans have Nico Collins, that might change things a little. But the fact of the matter is, even if you have a decent line, it seems you can get to the Texan or decent defense. You can get to the Texans, get pressure on C.J. Stroud. Well, just because simply the Texans have had one of the worst offensive lines in football this year. If you get a little bit of pressure, the Texans are done for. That's why they have 3 losses. And also, other games they didn't play well because their defense, so on and so on. But nonetheless, Lions are going to win this game, I think, by 10-13 points. I'm taking the Lions plus the spread. The spread will probably be 4 or 5 points in the Lions' favor. That's my guess. And then Monday Night Football, 2-6 Dolphins, 4-4 Rams. This is kind of a coin flip to me. The Dolphins are in need of a win. The Rams are 4-4. I'm going to simply take the Rams because of their home team. They got Cooper Kupp back. I know Puka Nacua tried to throw some Mike Tyson-type punches last week, and it was a soft punch. I'm sure he meant to connect harder than he did and better because I don't know what the heck he was thinking. Though almost thanks to Puka Nacua for allowing me to come back in fantasy. I lost by 7 because Puka got ejected. Came so close. Thanks, but no thanks, Puka. But anyways, it's my fault for losing. Sorry to go off on a little tangent. I'm going to take the Rams in this one. The Dolphins have looked okay. I would probably take the Dolphins if the last couple of weeks they could actually get their best weapons involved, I would have a little more faith in the Dolphins, and they should have won the game against the Cardinals a couple weeks ago. The Dolphins had a chance to win last week as well, but they're 2-6. That's the fact of the matter. So I'm going to take the Rams, even though I think the Dolphins could easily pull off I don't even want to call it a major upset, but the small upset, and that'll be my last pick of the week. The Rams will take the Monday night game, as there's only one Monday night game here this week, and then the Browns, Packers, Raiders, and Seahawks. If you're a fan of any of those teams, your teams are on bye week this upcoming week in week 10. That'll do it for the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. I will have weekly videos back as I finally got around to recording this one. Here it is, week 10. I know it's been a while. I apologize, but I'll get back on the weekly videos plus some baseball videos coming up, as there's going to be some big moves in the offseason, as I'm a big Astros fan. For those of you who don't know me, those will be coming back on my channel here soon, maybe as possibly early as next week. So that'll do it for the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. Like my video, comment down below, subscribe to my channel. I'm still making a push towards 200 subscribers. Please be my next subscriber as I push for 200 and more and more and more after that. I will see you all in the next edition of Clark Crawford Sports sometime next week, either for another football video or maybe I'll sneak in a baseball video and a football video next week. We will see. Stay tuned, and I'll see all of you next time.